Hey everybody, this is Darnell, and we reached completed 2 weeks. So this is my 2-week post-op update, and what I'm talking about today is, let me get the stats first. Started my journey at 414 pounds, middle of July. My surgical weight on the day of my surgery was 385 pounds. My weight when I weighed in the morning was 373 pounds. So did about 12 pounds in the since my surgical weight. And that's over these 2 weeks. We did about 12 pounds of weight loss, which I think is pretty good, especially since I hadn't eaten anything or couldn't eat and couldn't move around because I had a hernia. They found a hernia, and my doctor fixed that. Dr. Shaw, she's a great doctor. She fixed that up while she was in there, But let's get into like the week 2. We did a lot of that in week 1. Update. Week 2 update. I think the biggest, I could say, hurdle I ran into, two hurdles I ran into this week. One is finding stuff because I'm still on the fluid diet. Finding different things to eat because you kind of get really bored with protein shakes and applesauce and Jello, and you get bored with these things relatively quickly, and you want to try to find other things in which you can eat while trying to hit your protein goals. That's been, to me, the toughest thing to do, is on a consistent basis get my protein goal in. And 2, head hunger. And when I talk about head hunger, what I'm talking about is you really don't feel like eating, and this is a weird thing. You really don't feel like eating. You're not hungry. You're not like, oh, I'm hungry or anything like that. But you see something, you want to eat it. Worse than seeing something, in my opinion, has been the smells throughout the house. And let me kind of go over that real quick with you, because this one caught me by surprise. It was something I was not expecting to have happen, but wow, it is real. One of the things is that, so I'm just in the house, down in my man cave, doing some work and everything, and my wife was baking some fish, so she was making some salmon steaks or whatever. She was making them, and they're seasoned and everything, and that aroma came downstairs and it hit my nose, and I was not ready for it. Now, I've smelled my wife's salmon steaks, had them before and everything else, but when that smell hit my nose, my mouth started watering, and all I could think about was, oh man, those things gonna taste good. And I was like, but you can't have any. But it's going to taste good. You got that little crazy argument with myself. I know I was going to eat any of them. It's not that. But it's just that it so affected me that I was like in a debate with myself over food that I'm not even going to eat. And I'm not even hungry. So I'm like, what is that all about? Then, another day pops up. My daughter comes home. She gets something for my wife and her for dinner. They're having like some chicken wings and French fries and stuff they picked up at the store down the block. And anytime that happens, my wife always throws her French fries in the toaster oven just to get them heated up and warmed up and everything. So next thing I know, I smell these French fries cooking in the toaster oven. It's another day, and I'm kind of like, oh man, mouth starts watering, tingling and everything, and I'm just like, this is crazy. I don't even want no French fries. I don't want French fries, but those smells, my mouth, everything's watering up, and I'm like, what's going on here? I'm not going to eat the French fries or anything, but it's just like it's like a physical assault on your senses, and stuff, and you're like, wow, this has got me nuts. And when we almost had a food rage out here, as I call it, a food rage, is I'm upstairs, I'm laying across my bed, I'm watching the game, and my wife and daughter getting ready to look at a movie or look at some show or whatever on TV. So my wife pops in some popcorn. And that popcorn aroma gets rolling upstairs into my bedroom, tickles my nose, get all up in my nostrils, the butter and the popcorn and all that stuff. And I'm like ready to run downstairs and throw the popcorn out. Because I'm like, what is going on? What is wrong with me? I didn't want popcorn. It's just those smells were assaulting my senses. My olfactory nerves were just getting so beat up. I just like, and then, like I said, I did not expect this. This is one of those things, basically, I guess you have to deal with at this point in time, especially when the only thing I can eat is soup or chicken broth or Jello or so I guess it's something I'm going through this stage, and I'm glad somewhat that it's happening so I can start identifying like head hungers over real hunger and stuff, because I think that's important early on in this stage to kind of identify that. But it's really, it was that crazy, and stuff is like, we got ready to have a food rage incident here. Because I couldn't eat, because I'm eating soup, and let me kind of run back on, a little bit about, what's going on as far as food wise in the second week now, because now my stomach is settled enough where I can actually ingest and keep foods in and everything. It's different. Now my stomach. The first week I couldn't eat anything if I wanted to anyway. Now, I can eat different things, and my stomach can hold it. It's not getting upset. It's not, rejecting anything and everything else. And still, I'm not hungry. The only reason I'm thinking about food is because I know I have to get these proteins in, and the only way I can get these proteins in is if I focus on getting these proteins in. So they say, oh, you got to have 70 grams of protein. Oh, you got to have, 64 ounces of water and stuff every day. And so I spend my whole day trying to hit these numbers, and get to these numbers. So it's not as much as, am I feeling hungry or do I want to eat anything? No, because it's just that I got to hit these numbers. And so it's a difference than being hungry if you're just trying to hit numbers. You have the same thing happening with it, but it's the same things happening with trying to find foods that you want to eat, because you get tired of protein shakes very early on, very quickly, and also you kind of get tired of oh, you can have chicken broth. First things first, okay? Let's do this. First things first. When somebody says you can drink chicken broth, take it that you're drinking chicken broth that you've made from boiling a chicken. That stuff you buy in the store in the box containers, you can't season or anything enough of that stuff to call it edible, okay? One way I got around that, and it was helpful, I got my the cup of noodle soup. I put my hot water on it, strained out, and I was able to eat the chicken broth that way. I made a vegetable soup, full vegetable soup, with bouillon cubes in it, and then I put it into my blender. I have a liquefy setting in my blender, and I made like a vegetable soup that fit my criteria for food. So these are some of the things that I did to try to maintain or eat or something, just so it's not the same old stuff. And these are some things you might want to try. But I mean, telling you, trying to eat food. I went out and got me some egg drop soup, and egg drop soup was another thing that I ate, which I think could be helpful, and some people you might like doing it. I learned how to make a poached egg. And so I was able to eat a poached egg. So I kind of do that a couple of mornings this week and stuff, just so I can have protein that's not zero-sum protein. Zero-sum foods, such as, the unsweetened applesauce. I have a product they call, it's Isopure. I was using my Isopure unflavored, and I take a tablespoon of that, and that gave me about 5 grams of protein, and I put it into my unsweetened applesauce, and I stir it up as much as possible. It gave the applesauce a little bit of a chalky taste, but at least I wasn't just eating applesauce and not getting any real benefit from eating the applesauce and stuff. So I was able to say, okay, I have this. And that was really helpful. And one other food tip that I'll try to give you guys is for Jello. I had these other things they call their Isopure flavored. I have an apple melon. They have a whole bunch of different flavored ones out there and stuff. But instead of adding water into my Jello mix, the second stage of cold water, frozen water, cold water, what I would use is one of my Isopures. And that has 40 grams of protein per bottle. And so it makes roughly about 6 little containers I have of Jello. And in each one of those containers, I'm getting close to 7 grams of protein. And so I made Jello workable and useful, as opposed to I'm eating Jello because I want to have something tactile in my mouth, all right, or something to that. And this way it made it useful, and the taste is not that bad. It tastes pretty decent with the Jello and stuff. But yeah, these are some of the ideas that I came up with to try to extend my menu and still stay inside of my program for this full fluid program and everything. So, I hope this was helpful to some of you guys out there. I'm telling you, it's week 2 is, I call it endurance week, because you're just enduring until my next checkup, which my next checkup will be tomorrow. And hopefully it'll put me on soft foods or whatever. But like I said, hopefully you'll pick some of this stuff up in this video. It was helpful. If it's helpful to you, maybe you pass it on to some folks and maybe it can help them as well. But I want to tell you guys, you'll have a great day. And this is the end of my journal entry for week 2.